Okay, scheduling, part 2. So, once you've done your job schedule, you then can look at what's called Workcenter Availability, and that will tell you the jobs that are scheduled and when they're scheduled to be started. So as you schedule more jobs, they all come up in here. As you apply the time against the process, it takes away the balance and leaves you the balance of available time. If you click on there, it tells you these are the jobs that are booked in for that thing. Okay, so that's a list of the jobs that are supposed to be started on that process on that day. Yeah? Clear as mud. If you double click, it doesn't do anything. If you double click there, it actually shows you another list that shows you a list of all the jobs if you want to. And you can print that, or you can print it from here to say these are the jobs for this week. Come on. These are the jobs for this week on that process. So job scheduling sticks it in a day on a process. Alright, then you go and look at that process and look at the jobs for that. So once you do the work, it changes this to a green if it's done, or it stays red if it's not. So the principle is that whoever's running the scheduling on the factory, they come in here each day and they go, what did we do yesterday? And they on the CNC, and they click on there and it comes up and there is a list there. And it's red if it's done, sorry, red if they haven't done it, green if they have done it. And you can actually clear it each day. Yep. So you can actually clear it, and it takes them out. So each day you can come in here and check what's been done and what's not been done. All right. Now, clear. If you've finished the jobs and signed off on them, said the process is complete, it wipes them out of there so that they're not.
Does it, if that was the last process, does it, well, if that,
yeah, any, yes, yep, they'll all go. Yep. So this is just a tool for looking at what jobs have got to be done on that process.
Sorry, they'll go and they'll disappear from here.
Yep.
Or the job itself will record that process is completed.
The job itself will record the process is completed, but then it'll not show up on here again. All right. So it's for them to look at and see what jobs are scheduled, and blah 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 blah. Now, if you don't do anything with the job, so if they don't do it, the only way that will move from there is if you actually unschedule the job. So the only way that a job is going to move is is if you physically remove the schedule. You push that button. So if you haven't done that job, it's not going to move itself. It's stuck there until you do one of two things. You close the job off and complete it and send it to history or whatever, or you undo it. You say, I don't want that to be the scheduling anymore. So there's no process, well there is another process, but in this method there's no process where it moves them around based on the fact that you've done it or you haven't done it. If you haven't done it, you haven't done it. And you go and do two things. You either go and do the job, or you remove the schedule and you schedule it in when you can do based on all the other jobs that are coming in the meantime. Yes, yep. Yep. Yes. Hang on. Yep, that's... Yep. Yep. I'll just tell you. Yes, she's going to ring me back. I asked a couple of questions and they didn't really know what so she's going to ring me back and work it out. It's nothing, no drama. Yep. 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 Well, I talked to him and he said, no, it's... Yes. Alright, so that's the scheduling process. Now you can go and say, I want to remove, in the background here there's a thing that says extensively remove all scheduling, and you can remove the whole lot, and it'll take out every single job. So you can remove all the scheduling and basically start again. Alright, so if you wanted to just say, well, what jobs have I got scheduled, you can push that button there and you can go OK, and it'll tell you these are all the jobs that are still to be done generally. If they're white like that, it means no scheduling's been done. If they go red like that, it means that it's overdue. If it's green, it means you're going to meet. You can do it's scheduled to meet the due date. That's a process where you can lock the job so that it never moves, but that's not really relevant anymore because these are locked. There's another process. There's another scheduling process. All right, so that's job scheduling. So you schedule each job as it comes up, and it sets in stone when you're going to do that process on that job ticket. And you just have to manage it on a day-to-day basis. Have I done it or have I not done it? Do I need to unschedule a job and move it somewhere else if I haven't done it? But it's not a rolling thing. It doesn't move things, that's right. It's set in stone. Okay, now, and the only way you can get very fine scheduling is by using this method. Okay, because you can move the days around in individual processes. Alright, so I call that job scheduling. Okay, there's another method that you can use. It's still job scheduling, but this is like an automated process. So to do this, you can tick this box, and it comes up with a big list of parts of jobs, and you go run, and it goes through and actually does the scheduling for every single job, starting from today. Okay, so if you did this, some people still use this, and where it works is so what happens is that they run this thing every single day, and it keeps moving the whole lot forward. However, it's very difficult to use, as you can see, because if you've got one little thing in there that's not right, if someone's removed something or the process doesn't have a thing, it stops. So if you've got 150 jobs in there, or 59 jobs, it stops wherever it had a problem, and you've got to try and nut out what the problem is, why it won't keep going. Oh, an error's occurred. Why is there an error? Well, Workcenter code 82 on that job, there's something wrong. What's wrong? I've got no idea. Doesn't tell you, because it's just one big algorithm that starts here and starts going churning through. And the other problem is that it just decides it's working on the due date, and it's just runs an algorithm, and you can end up with stuff everywhere. And every day you do it, this job that was due then will all of a sudden be due over here, and it just keeps moving the whole thing's trying to shuffle it all in.
Okay, so it would really only be helpful possibly if there was fewer jobs?
Fewer jobs and not many processes, and no subcontracting or all that sort of stuff where it's got to move it, take into account lead times and things. You just push it and just keep doing it and say, this is what I've got to do today, and they get a list and they go and do it, and then the next day they push it and they go and get their list and they do it. So basically it's fairly simple, and they've just got to, it doesn't really matter as long as it comes up in the list and says you should be doing this job today, and no one has to think about it much. That's the other method. So we generally steer people away from using that now because it's very difficult. Okay, I'll keep going with my video. Okay, so there is another method. Yet another method. Alright, now this method, it's not actually scheduling as such. It's a schedule of jobs. So this method works on the fact that it sets this issue date and a due date. So it's not actually using a schedule date. It's not looking at the available capacity of the machines and slotting it in. It's just saying, on this machine, there was a job that has a due date, and because I have lead times in my parts, it's giving me a date when I should start it. And there is X amount of time to do that job. So you've got some options. You can say, just show me the jobs that are due up to this date, or you can sort and say, start the earliest jobs, or start the jobs that has the earliest scheduled date, and say, well, I only want to do what I want to do. Give them a list for one day at a time on that machine.
You'd only give them things that were ready.
That's yes. Well, that's the other part of it. So you can either do it and say, just show me the jobs that are ready to do because the previous process is finished. Okay, and you just print those out and you give them a list and say, go and do that. You're supposed to start it by then. We've finished the previous thing. There's your list of things today. Off you go, Jeffrey. Away you go. Don't know why I said Jeffrey, but all right. Now the other this thing here, this window here as well, takes into account or can take into account material allocation. So have I got the material or not? Whereas the job scheduling doesn't care whether you got the material. You're just deciding what day you can start it.
That doesn't work if you're purchasing material to jobs.
Well, the job scheduling does work. Oh, this doesn't. No, this only works, or this only is valid where you've got an allocation. All right. So, and this is telling you what materials are required to do the job, and whether you have them or not. Okay. So 5 out of 5 means that we've got 5 of the 5 materials available to do the job. So what happens that in this instance, it takes it one step further and gives it a go. So it says, you've got either finished the previous process or it doesn't have one, and you have the materials that you need. You can go and do this. Right? But it's not actually scheduling via capacity.
That's probably what I imagine CFNA.
They may do, yes. Right? So it's not capacity based. It's just working on this lead time and what you should be doing. But it's not.
It's just giving you a list of
Yes,
things
yes.
to do
That should be done by that time with this much time to do it. And have I got the material? Right? It's another way of doing it. You can actually still run the scheduling, the capacity scheduling, and get this date and still use this window as the list to give them. So you can use the other list if you want to, or you can use this list. Right. Okay, so that's well, there's some terminology for this one. This is called, I don't know what that's called. I've written it down somewhere. The kind of process. I'll find that for you. I've got it written down. Okay, and there's yet another kind of scheduling which is called laser scheduling, which we won't even talk about. So you've got the main two types of scheduling now. Okay. So where was I? I'll stop that now.